Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Plague Eldritch Anecdotes. I am your guide, Ariana, and let's just recap. Last week we had episode 5, so I hope you got to dabble into that. And then, of course, catching up on schoolwork for myself and work. Nothing too crazy, but we have a Valentine's Day special next week, so I'm still taking submissions for Valentine's Day stories, whether it's your own or somebody else's or a story you found online. Submit those. Remember, you can submit them on the link on my Instagram page or post it on the YouTube channel here. But other than that, we've got some good stories today, all from Reddit. Our last story today is kind of like a spiraling rabbit hole. So let's go ahead and jump to it. Also, I just wanted to mention that I'm sorry I'm not overly loud today. I am not properly set up this episode, as I am coming to you guys freshly in my kitchen because I just submitted like a bajillion papers for homework. So, like I said, this is going to be a journey. I don't want to get too far off task, so I'm not setting up for you guys. So, I apologize for such improper etiquette for doing these podcasts. But you're here with me now, and that's what matters. So let's go ahead and dive into our first story. Coming from r/paranormal, posted a year ago by Malinko82, and it is titled, "Did I Let Something in My House?" I, 41 female, have been living in this apartment for almost a year now. I haven't had any experiences up until this last week. Things started up on Tuesday night while I was at work. My front door camera went off and there wasn't anyone there. Not that big of a deal, maybe an animal or something. 15 minutes later, it went off again, but this time my porch light is on. So I checked back through and it was off when I left, off in the next video, and then just comes on. I checked all the other cameras inside and out, but there was no one at the house. For the rest of the night, the light goes on and off randomly as I keep checking. About 3 a.m., I continue checking it until about 3:23, and the light is off, and my coworker points out movement in the shadow in the front of my door. I turn on the camera lights, but nothing there. This continued up until about 4:30, and then the light went off and stayed off. I got home at 7, and my TV was turned on. It was off when I left, but otherwise everything was normal. I worked the rest of the week, and everything seemed normal as I checked in through the cameras. I had an electrician friend come over and check the porch light out on Friday. It's all good. So tonight, Saturday, is my night off, and I am home watching TV. I live alone, so it's just me and the cats sitting in the living room watching TV when I start hearing someone talking. It seems to be coming from my bedroom, which is at the front of the house. Knowing there is no one here but me, I figured it's outside, so I checked the cameras. I don't see anyone around, but it gets so quiet. I don't see anyone around, but it gets quiet, so I figured they just went down the street. I settle back in for my movie, and there it goes again. I decided at this point to ignore it, thinking it's someone else passing by. Suddenly, I hear my friend L calling me from the bedroom, but he's not here. He's at work. I dropped him off myself at 6:45 p.m., and he won't be off until 7 a.m. I went into the bedroom and double-checked, but it's empty. Since then, I have heard it 3 more times. My cats have reached and gone to look down the hallway, but won't go any further. At this point, I have closed the door, and I am planning on sleeping on the couch. I want to know if it's a familiar voice she's hearing. how is this apartment set up? Because maybe she's hearing neighbors, or is it like townhouse apartments where your front door is just facing outside and not a hallway of some sorts? What was the talking about? Did she catch any of the conversation? And then as far as cameras inside and outside, I'm wondering if her cameras inside are motion activated. Someone in the comments in the beginning here, they were kind of thinking the same thing I was as well. And maybe she needs to get her CO2 detector checked. Everyone always says that. But who knows? Reading in the comments here, OP does say that it's a duplex and she's upstairs with a private entrance. So yeah, that's exactly kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, does your door go straight outside or does it go into a hallway? So that clears that up. And then she continues to say that on both nights in question, her neighbor was not home. She's a close friend, so she's aware if she is or isn't there at her house. And a lot of people, this is kind of like one of the stories from last week. A lot of people are like, whatever was there previously before her getting home to cleanse her house and to basically rebuke it, because when she got home she let it in. Yes, especially from her hearing it 3 different times in one night. It's kind of concerning. And then she's got her cats there, so you don't want nothing happen to your cats. But a lot of people are like, sage your house. Let's see. People are saying it's a mimic, but if it's not a voice she's recognizing, I don't know, it's hard to say, because I feel like mimics tend to be either yourself, you, or someone you know. And she didn't really clarify that. But I do find it interesting that her light was going on and off. I want to know what the electrician completely said, because he said everything was good, right? So I'm assuming he's looking at wiring. Could the light bulb have just not been screwed in properly? I don't know. There's a lot to unpack in this little story, because it starts on a Tuesday night with the camera, and then nothing happens up until Saturday. So it's obviously not a chronic issue. So I would say she needs to cleanse her house as soon as possible. And also, what about her friend, her roommate? I don't know who this person is, L, that she dropped off. Her roommate, L, she dropped him off at 6:45 p.m. So, I want to know if he works around the same time she does during the week, because she dropped him off on a Saturday at 6:45 p.m. So I want to know if he's hearing anything, and he's not saying anything. Does he have access to the cameras? Has he seen anything? There's some context missing here, but I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments below. Trying to see. She said, I got home at 7. So 7 in the morning, and her TV was turned on and she left it off. But if she's got a roommate, oh, I got this string on my pants that's bothering me. If she's got a roommate that works about the same hours as her. Got it. This stupid little string. Or a slightly opposite schedule of her. Sounds like she drops him off at work. Couldn't he have left the TV on? I don't know. There's a lot to unpack here, but there has not been any updates from OP. I checked. In the comments, there's not much. She just says that she works at night, so she's not home much. She's had some knockings at rare nights, but she usually just blames the cats. And I'm trying to see if she says anything else about her roommate. Throw that string away. Someone down here, this is a good question. Someone posted, it doesn't sound like you did anything, but did Elle, your roommate, could they have let something in? I never thought about that. Yeah, like I said, they're kind of like on an opposite schedule, sort of, it seems. What is Elle doing when you're not at home? That's sketch. That's super sketch. I never thought about that. Drop your comments below, you guys. And let's see what you think of this story. Okay, so I had to grab a snack, some Pringles, and made some hot chocolate because I'm freezing in my house. I don't even know what the temperature is right now, but just so you guys know, the desert, it gets cold, okay? You might not get snow, but it gets freezing out here. So, I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna enjoy some hot chocolate with you guys and some chippy chips. Also, I've been working on this freaking papers for technically all week, but I've been hammering it down all day today. And the last 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours have just been like my face in the computer typing away. So I deserve a treat, and you guys are going to watch me eat and deserve my treat while I read you this next story, which is coming from r/paranormal, posted by Sherbert Old 7724 2 months ago, so kind of fresh. Titled, I Think Something Is in My Parents' House. The year I graduated high school, my parents moved into a new house, way out in the middle of nowhere. I wasn't there for very long before I moved out. But before I did, I always felt really weird when I was home. I had my own room, but it never really felt like mine. I'm not sure how I can explain it. Maybe 3 to 4 months later, I moved out into my own apartment. After the first night in the new apartment, I woke up to see missed calls from my mom from around 3:30 a.m. I immediately called her as soon as I saw it. She asked me why I was home the night before, and I asked if everything was okay. I read that backwards. She asked me why I was home the night before and if everything was okay. Confused, I told her I wasn't, and I was settling into my new place. She said that she and my dad woke up to me yelling, "Mom," down their hallway. She said I did it twice. When I asked what it sounded like, she said it was like I needed something rather than panic, which is why they weren't too worried. They got up and looked around, but didn't see my car, so they thought I had left in a rush. They still don't believe I wasn't there and think it was a prank somehow. That same week at their house, the power in my room went out. They changed bulbs, messed with electrical, couldn't seem to figure it out, but didn't think too much of it since I had my own place and no one used that room besides storage. There were a few times over the next 2 years I stayed, still no power, just in my room. It became a joke and eventually a normal thing. No one seemed to really care to fix it, but then at one point I had to move back home. I was in bed sleeping the first night after moving back in. I woke up to hearing the ceiling fan rattling from how fast it was going, and shocked to notice I was laying in bed with all the lights on. The ceiling light, the closet lights, a lamp, the fan, all on. After 2 years, scared me shitless. I couldn't believe it was random. And that all those switches were all turned on this whole time? No one else seems to believe me, but brushed it off as a coincidence. But I've never been able to shake that weird feeling the house gives me. But nothing's happened since. So OP had their own place since they graduated, and then 2 years after. In this time, these lights weren't working, but then when she moved, or he, it doesn't really say, when they moved back into their parents' house, all of a sudden our lights are working. How weird. But it's interesting that OP only said it felt weird in the room. Nothing crazy happened. And it doesn't seem like since that one time the mom called, anything else has really happened. Excuse me, because it seems like they just kind of brushed it off and kept going about life, basically. Some people in the comments were kind of in the same realm of my thoughts. It's like, have you looked at the history of the house and the land? And OP said they did eventually, and it turned out that the owner that lived there before died from a heart attack, but that was in the living room. That they don't have a good relationship with their parents anymore, so that's kind of sad to hear about. But he just said that not much has really happened, and they don't know if anything else has happened since. Let's see, someone asked, what were you able to find out? And wow, this is lengthy. I don't think I paid attention to this. I kind of just really scanned it so fast. I must have overlooked this. Wow. Okay. This is a miniature update a month ago. So a month after posting and a month ago from now. Alright. So OP says, hey, so after posting this, I did some reflecting and reached out to my brother. He has a closer relationship with my dad. It turns out that it was far worse than I had even imagined. I don't necessarily believe in things like this, at least I didn't, but now I'm hearing all of this has given me, after hearing all of this, it has given me so much to think about. Given that my brother I love and trust more than anything has shared similar stories. Listen guys, the kitchen is not where I want to be, but everyone's asleep and the kids are asleep. Could be my dog or my cat though, but y'all better be watching my back. Anyways, sorry. Turns out this has been a constant thing to this day. My brother told me some stories that I've never heard before, and he was afraid no one would believe him. He said that when he lived there, he was mid-20s at the time. His bedroom, which was next to mine, made him feel weird sometimes. A few times he explained that he was laying in bed with the door fully latched, and randomly the door would swing open and stay against the wall. The way his door hangs, it naturally slowly closes on its own, so this was completely against anything explainable. He said that most nights he would wake up with goosebumps and a horrible gut feeling and would move back to our living room. It was very long ranch that had really weird layout. So it was a ranch house with a weird layout. 2 living rooms, 4 bedrooms. There was a door to the back living room, and he would lock it and fall asleep on the couch there. He said there were also times where he would hear me yelling, but thought it was just him hearing the TV in the other room. He shared that with my dad and has also heard similar. He shared that my dad has also heard similar things. On several occasions, he would hear my yelling for help, but knew I was out of town and chalked it up to be one of the cats or something. So scary to me to think that this is my voice. Fast forward to recently, my parents have been divorced for a few years. My dad had a new girlfriend. Apparently, she's very in tune with the spiritual side. The first time she ever went to the house, she told him something felt wrong and she had to leave. She stayed a bit longer, but as they were walking down the hallway, she stopped in front of my bedroom and randomly goes, "That's where it is," the feeling, and refused to explain more. She ended up leaving shortly after, and they broke up like a month later. I don't know. Crazy shit. This is also new and scary to me. They shared other stories, but I've already written a book. So thanks for listening. That's our update. Sippy sip of my hot chocolate. Listen, they need to do further deep dive past the previous owner on this house and the markup of the land. That's all I have to say. I'm trying to see. Some people are saying it's a mimic, but I don't know. It's a tough one. But having all of this in perspective of I wish we had more of a timeline for OP, on when this happened. So like how old, if we knew the age, it would give us like more perspective of when this was happening. But yeah, I would do more of a deep dive on this house. That's kind of crazy. It sounds like their house was like smaller and then more was attached to it to have 2 living rooms, and like one in the front and one in the back. It also depends on where they're living at and when the house was built, because maybe this is like some weird ranch house of the 70s and they had like 5 living rooms and 5 bedrooms, so who knows. But I want to know what you guys think, of course, as always. Give me your input. What did you think about multiple people hearing OP's voice screaming out? And interesting enough, how OP's dad's, I guess, ex-girlfriend now never been to this place and already like that got that sense of where it was. Something about OP's bedroom is radiating the weird in the house, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is interesting. I'm just going over everything here. So move to the middle of nowhere, and it's always the middle of nowhere houses. Why? What's so extravagant about moving to the middle of nowhere? It always has something crazy happening. Hello, the Conjuring movies. That's kind of like the middle of nowhere. They're living in like the outskirts of the town. Stay where people can get to you, okay, friends? No, I'm just kidding, but just have some things in place to be safe. I'm trying to see. But yeah, okay, that's interesting. That, okay, here's what I'm trying to figure out. OP's bedroom and the lights were being wonky, right? This is 2 years after moving out and then moving back in. So I need to know when in between this 2 years did OP's brother's accounts happen and OP's dad's accounts happen? Or is this happening now recently after? Like, is some of it before mom and dad divorced and she was out of the house, and some of it after, or all before, or all after? Like, I need a full context timeline. I'm gonna keep an eye out for this one. It's only a couple months old, so OP could update and share something else. So if I see anything, I will let you guys know. Maybe I'll reach out to OP and see what goes from there. But onwards, friends, onwards. Okay, well, we've been joined by somebody. If you guys would like to meet him, come here. Hold on. This is Obsidian, Obi for short, and he is 17 years old. He's my old man. He's the last of my kitties. I used to have, well, at once I had 6, but in total I've had, including him, 7 cats. And he's my last baby. And I've had all my cats since I was like middle school. So 2000, well, a little bit before that maybe. No, middle school. So since like 2004. Yeah, and then they've all just lived very long and delicious lives, and he's just the last guy. But he wants treats, so I have to give him some treats. So yeah, that's my cat. My little man. I gotta fix my chair. Okay, so our last story is 4 parts. It's a little bit of a doozy rabbit hole type deal, like I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. And they were all posted a year ago by Parker Uwu Forever. No joke, that's literally what that person's username. And the thing about this is I don't know the order much to this, except for, like, I can tell the order of 3 of the stories, but I don't know exactly what came first. So with that being said, I am just going to jump the gun and assume that this is the first story, and we'll go from there. So, coming from r/paranormal, posted a year ago by Parker Uwu Forever, titled Unexplained Knocking. So this, actually freaked me out when it happened. A couple days ago, I was in the bathroom doing bathroom things. Door was closed, and my brother and I are talking through it while he feeds the cats. I hear him walk away, and maybe 5 to 10 seconds later, I hear 2 distinct knocks on the door. 2 quick taps. Knock, knock. Immediately I say, "What?" No response, so I repeat myself louder. "What?" I thought it was my brother, and he acts deaf sometimes. So after no response again, I yell, "What?" Then I hear him from across the house, asking something along the lines of what I want. What did I say? Immediately I'm like, what the fuck? Is he in the kitchen? Who knocked? So I yell to him, asking if it was him that knocked, and he says no. I mentioned in the other posts that my brother, who is 16, is not a prankster. He doesn't play jokes or mess around, despite being a 16-year-old boy, so when he says he didn't do something, I tend to believe it. I'm freaking out at this point and leave the bathroom. Then he and I spend 5 minutes messing around with the bathroom door trying to debunk it. He's a skeptic / realist, whatever you want to call it. Mind you, we were home alone and just got home from school. Mom and stepdad at work, youngest brother at bio dad's place. It was just the two of us. We have pets, but a human knuckle knocking and a cat paw or dog paw against the door are very different sounds. This was human. We tried to figure out what it could be while I was low-key panicking, but couldn't think of anything except him thinking I'm crazy and me convinced even more that we have ghosts. Sorry if it's long. I'm just trying to provide context. I'm an author at heart. Short and concise isn't exactly my strong suit. Thanks. I'm freaked out by my haunted house. So that is story 1 from this poster. And I didn't really see too much from OP in this story commenting. And I did try to find information in the stories where he mentioned his brother's ages. So we got that this brother is 16, he's not a prankster. But interesting, though, it's only 2 knocks. How close is the kitchen to the bathroom? I mean, brother could be playing a prank on them. But I know he said it was too quick. But how loud were the rapid knocks too? He didn't say how loud it was. So I do want to know that. I don't know. But I'm going to keep going so we can discuss this as a whole. So then the next story he posted, also a year ago, this one he titled, "They Say I Screamed, But I Didn't." The other night, I was taking a bath. My brothers and I were home alone, and they were both in the living room, nearly opposite side of the house. Interesting that he's always in the bathroom. I was sitting, playing on my phone and listening to music, and I hear my brother R come running. He knocks loud on the door, and when I answer, he asks if I'm okay. Say that 8 times fast. I hear my brother R come running. He knocks loud on the door, and when I answer, he asks if I'm okay. He sounded worried and a bit panicked, which is unlike him. I tell him I'm fine. Apparently, R and B were sitting on the couch and heard me scream. Like full, loud, in pain or in danger scream. And R was freaked out because why would I be screaming? The thing is, I didn't make a sound. This isn't the first time one of us has heard another family member when they didn't speak, but it's usually calling names. I've heard my mom calling my name or nickname multiple times when she didn't. But we've never heard each other scream without cause. So, thought I'd share. Yes, my house family is haunted. I can also share stories or 2 of my family seeing me when I'm not there. Interesting. This one, same thing. I went through the comments. It's not a lot of engagement from OP, but let's see. A lot of people are like, I've been scanning your profile. It looks like there's a lot of emotion in your home, probably triggering things. That's referring to a story that is unrelated to our topics. Unfortunately for OP, it's very saddening what he is feeling or what they are feeling. I'm not going to assume anything, but a lot of people have said, like, just scanning through your posts and everything, it feels like it's just amplifying the haunts. But as OP mentioned in his story, he did write a post about another thing. So let me jump to that one real quick. Oh, that's not it. So So this one also posted a year ago. I don't know exactly. Let me see. Ooh, let me go back. Hold on, you guys, before we get into his next story. Let me go back to story 1. 2008. Okay. So all of these stories were... No? Doesn't say. Never mind, I lied to you. I was trying to see if we had like post years, but this is just the sub year creation. Shoot. It's just only gonna give us a generality of it. So I don't really know how far apart these events have happened in OP's timeline. I don't know if these accounts are back to back or they're just sharing different accounts, but this one here does get an update, but they're all posted a year ago. So this one is titled, "My Family Sees Me When I'm Not There." I posted yesterday about my brothers hearing me scream when I didn't. And I mentioned I had a few other stories, so here I am to share those. This happened around a year ago, but I wrote this out in my notes around an hour after I had it happen and forgot to post. Edited slightly. My mom, stepdad, and I are driving about 2.5-3 hours away to pick up our new motorhome. We stopped at the gas station and I ran inside with mom to grab some food, while my stepdad filled the motorhome with gas. My mom went to speak with him and I dropped my stuff off in the car, then went around to find her as she came around to find me. I came around the back of the motorhome and heard my mom say, "Why are you hiding?" And I assumed she was talking to the dog in the car. I started sneezing. Sunlight makes me sneeze. I don't know why. I can relate. And my mom turned to look at me. Her eyes got wide and she looked totally freaked out. I was confused and asked what happened, assuming the dog was being weird. I got into the front seat, and as mom did that weird stressed panic laugh cry thing, this conversation ensued. Me, Mom, what happened? What did the dog, do? Mom didn't say anything, just looked freaked. Me, what? What? Is Ripley being weird? Mom, no. You. Me, why? Mom, I saw you in the back seat. Apparently, Mom got into the car and saw me laying on the floor of the back seat, grinning up at her like I was being goofy and trying to scare her. The "why are you hiding" comment wasn't directed towards me. When she heard me sneezing, she had turned. Seeing me, her eyes got wide and she whipped back around to see that me in the back seat had vanished. Mom, so rightfully so, started crying because, yeah, that's freaky as fuck. I mean, imagine seeing your child in the backseat being a little weirdo with a grin that doesn't seem menacing, but then hear that same child in a different location and looking back to see that child in the car was gone. The smile went from "haha, I'm so weird" to "very menacing and scary," she said. The other occurrence was similar, this time involving my brother R, who was 16. This was a couple months back. The details are foggy, so bear with me. My brother was in the living room when I came out from my room and stopped in the door to the living room. He and I chatted for a minute, with him looking at me as we did. He looked down at his phone when it dawned on him that I had left over an hour before to go to the store. I was going to say school. See where my brain is. I wasn't home. He looked back up and I was gone. Around 20-ish minutes later, I returned home and he was still there, a little freaked. He told me, and we were so confused as to what it could be. On top of that, I've heard my family calling me numerous times only to find out that they haven't. the most notable involving R and Mom as well. I can't remember if I've posted it before. One night, I was at my desk and heard R calling my name, so I got up, going to his room to see what he wanted. He said he didn't call me, but we stood talking for a minute. I turned on my heel to leave, and as I did, I heard Mom calling my nickname, Monkey. So I did a 180, heading down to her room. But when I went in, she said she didn't call me either. It was memorable since it happened twice in a matter of minutes. I do know we have at least 2 spirits in my house, one attached to my mom and one to me. Nothing has ever seemed hostile. The worst thing they've done is move stuff around, which has made me late a few times. But a few people wanted me to share these, so here you go. So apparently OP knows there are things in the house following them. It is an attachment for sure, because if it's happening in a car at a gas station, it's an attachment. But I don't know about spirits. Just saying. It could be something else. We don't want that. But it's very intense. Mimic, possibly, but I think it's a little bit more. I think we're past that. I wonder if OP's family had cameras in the house or thought about cameras. I'm not sure. I'm trying to read what some of these people are saying. Nothing crazy. Someone recommended about recording it also. Let's move on to the update. There's really nothing in the comments from OP. Hello. Okay, so we're going to move on to the update. Got my kiddo here. He's asleep. He's tired. Put this up a little bit. Okay. So this one is my family sees me when I'm not there. Update. Okay, so I just got home from a trip the other night and was telling my brother about how I posted some stories here, and he shared another incident he never told me. It would have been around 5 to 6 years ago, so we would have been maybe 10 or 12. He was asleep on the floor of our mom's room and woke up in the middle of the night. He looked across the room and saw me sitting on the floor. My face was illuminated by the light from the tablet screen. R looked at me and started saying my name, asking what I was doing, but I didn't react. So he reached over, turning on the light, and the moment the light flicked on, I vanished. The tablet was on, the screen lit up, but I wasn't there. Let me drink my chips. So much for missing out. He says that when the light... Oh no! Okay, sorry about that, folks. My kid decided to try to eat my chips, but instead just decided to chuck the whole thing on the floor. He says that when he flicked on the light, he saw me vanish before his eyes, and that the tablet that had been on, illuminating my face, was laid on the floor in the same place. Turned on. This was insane to me because he'd never told me this. R's room and mine are next to each other. To get to my room, I have to pass his. Same with going to the living room or the kitchen. So if he's awake, he's very aware of me moving about. He can literally see me go. And because the way his room is, I have to put a good bit of force to shut my... And because of the way my room is, I have to put a good bit of force to shut my door, nearly having to slam it each time. There have been numerous occasions of him seeing me, hearing me walk down the hall past his room to mine. But then, nothing. And he gets up and pokes his head out, wondering what I'm doing. only to find my bedroom door closed and me not there. Sure, he could have missed the door closing, but like I said, I have to basically slam my door. It's not quiet. That's a bit more tame, but it's pretty frequent, like probably once a week. I don't know about OP's house. Now here's the thing, they picked up a motorhome, right? In that last one, let me go back. Yeah, they went and picked up their new motorhome. I want to know if anything's happened inside the motorhome since they brought it back to their place. I want to know what their house layout is like. Is it an apartment? Is it a house? Where is it located? Like environment-wise, in the city, suburbs, middle of nowhere. Because sometimes, like I said, these things add up depending on the land. They probably need to look into the history of their house as well, because that's crazy bananas to be having this stuff happening to you at home and when you're not at home. I think OP and his family have serious attachments and need to seek some help, but we are never going to know because these were posted a year ago, and I have been on their page to see what they've been up to, if anything new has come about, but honestly, there hasn't. I mean, they've been on Reddit for 3 years, but there hasn't been any activity in over a year. So hopefully OP's out there and they're doing okay, and maybe they just need to move houses. I don't really know. I really do not know. But yeah, that is the rabbit hole. What did you guys think of all of those stories combined from one person, like a mini series? I'm just saying, this kitchen spot is not for me, you guys. I am looking over my shoulder hardcore, but it kind of adds to the element, right? What's in this dark space? It's just my living room. But tell me what you guys think about those stories. I want you to really give me some context, especially in this last story. That's 4 parts. 4 parts and many different accounts for this kiddo. I think it feels like a kid, maybe early 20s. But yeah, tell me what you guys thought about this episode's stories. Remember to tune in next week for our Valentine's Day stories. We got some good ones coming up. You still have time to submit stories for yourself, and you don't have to find stories about love or anything. As long as you're in that realm of paranormal, and just submit your stories like normal. They might appear on this podcast. So yeah, you guys are probably wondering why I'm swaying. I'm just putting my kid back to sleep. I don't know if you can hear his nose. But yes, tune in to Valentine's Day special next week. And Super Bowl Sunday. Who are you guys voting for? Who are you guys hoping to win? Drop that down in the comments. Let me know, what are you trying to see score-wise? Are you guys excited for the halftime show? Let me know. Tell me. I'm kind of torn between the two, because I want the Seahawks to win, but this will be a Super Bowl without Tom Brady and the Patriots too. So that's kind of like a win on its own if they win. I don't know. But overall, I want the Seahawks to win. So, yes. Alright, you guys. Have a great night. I'm going to sleep. It is 12:30 over here, and my brain hurts. And I'm going to have to get up and get these kids ready for school and do it all over again. And I still have a paper and a half to write. Help me. But until next time, friends, thanks for joining me. Bye.